Hey, what is up guys? It's Excuse Me, I'm Jack, and welcome back to another Jurassic World Evolution 2 video. So in this video, we are going to be creating our first and only herbivore enclosure. It's going to be somewhat massive compared to the rest of this park, compared to some of these other enclosures. I've actually started to plan it out, gather the dinosaurs, just because it was a lot of stuff going into the actual park. Like, just to start it off, right? So, first things first, this area is the entire area of what I want the enclosure to be. I want to include multiple species, including a couple of scavengers, kind of like what I did with the Tarbosaurus enclosure, where I added the Compsognathus, if you could find them. Now, the dinosaurs we're going to be using today are our Cretaceous era dinosaurs. We have our Edmontosaurus, we have our Gallimimus, we have our Nuceroceratops, our Parasaurolophus, our Triceratops, our Dreadnoughtus, and our Sticky Molluks. So we are going to also be adding the Moros Intrepidus as the scavenger. The only issue with them is that it's probably going to be difficult to have them in certain areas of the enclosure. They currently have an issue where or it's not an issue, it's more of a gameplay feature where if they are in a large enclosure, they have like issues trying to like max out their territory. Now, if the water or the food isn't in that territory, they're gonna have issues, going to those certain parts of the enclosure. So, for say, I'm going to have this river, I'm gonna have all the sand in this enclosure be a river, right? So that means I'm gonna do some terraforming and all that stuff. But say like I have all the water there, and then I have I have the feeder for them right here, right by this viewing gallery. Now, if I have that, they could have issues walking back and forth to the water, to the feeder. And that would be a big issue because, they're going to end up dying because they're going to starve or they're going to, dehydrate. So we're going to create multiple pockets of them. Now, I put a little bit more thought into this than any of the rest of these enclosures, just primarily because it's going to be the first big enclosure. It's probably going to be the only big enclosure, and we're going to pretty much make everything around it like just park itself. Now, we have our first little stop over here that we've created where the tour vehicle is going to attach to. Now, I think the first thing we should do is we should actually extend our enclosure. Now, I'm going to extend this enclosure by adding a invisible fence to it. I will be adding the invisible fence on this layer. We will be terraforming a lot later. I would be adding an invisible fence to this layer. I feel like this is a perfect place to put it. And then it's going to go up and follow this dirt path all the way up to this point. Now we are going to be doing our thing where, like what we did at the end over here, we're going to create that box, kind of like what we did right here, right? Just so the dinosaurs can't get through. So we're going to be having it right there because this is going to be like, the relay point for the invisible fence. Now for the rest of this enclosure, the fence is going to go along the path and it's going to be this normal fence. Okay, it's gonna go up there and connect to there, and then we have our main enclosure built. Now, we have to do some level editing because the river the river doesn't have waterfalls. You know, it's not going to have those types of things because this is a game that doesn't have like waterfalls or like level editing when it comes to rivers or water sources. So we can obviously, you know, create them how we want to create them and then just go off of that. But what I want to do actually is I want to bring this down a bit. Now, how far do I want to bring this down? This layer is pretty much going to be our primary layer up until this point. We're going to modify the terrain just a bit more in the future, just to, like, you know, make all of this look nicer. Alright, so we want this to be the final level of the terrain. It's okay if this fence right here goes down into the gap. My issue is with this part right here. That's gonna look weird. If I try to make that go down, because the tour vehicles are actually gonna follow that pathway back. Okay, so what we want to do is just keep on flattening this area of the map. This is gonna be primarily forest and just other parts of the enclosure. Right there. So this whole area up here is flat as well. And then we want to bring this up. Like so. This right here is going to take some editing as well because it's going to slope downward. And then we want to bring this out even more. Now this is going to mess with some of the terrain right here. We're just going to have to fix that. Okay, we could also just modify this river. So, you know, we don't actually need to have the river go off into this point. This is an issue I kind of saw happening. So what we can have is just, you know, the river just end right here. Right. Alright, now down here what we can do is we can flatten this out just a little bit more. Just so it's, you know, on par with the rest of this bottom part of the enclosure. Okay, then we want to kind of layer this upward, right, with our flattened terrain tool. So we want to like start off and then go down and just keep tapping. And then we want to use our slope and then go in the middle of all of that. This is going to give you more of a natural slope for our vehicles themselves, right? So we can do something like that for the vehicles. And now what we want to do is figure out the pathway for them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our Jurassic Tor Track and we're going to connect it. So what this means is we're going to want to take a look at the terrain and we're going to want to go up like right here. Make sure it's not too much of a steep slope. Okay. And then we want to bring this out across the river near the mountain, then back in a little bit. Then we're going to want to cross the river again. And then we're going to want to actually go through the river a little bit. This is going to look kind of weird right now, but we will make it work. Okay, and then we practically connected this rest of the track. Now for this to actually start working, we're just going to create pretty much nothingness over here. because our tour vehicle is actually going to come from this way, right? So we can pretty much just, you know, line up with some random stuff that we're going to delete later. And then we're going to start it off here. So this is where it's going to start, where the actual tour track is going to start. Going to come around here, come down here, and then connect right there. All right, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to take our flatten terrain tool, and we're going to want to flatten the terrain like so. All right. Now what we can do is we could fill this in with forest, because the top of this is not going to even matter. I don't want this area to be seen also, because this area we're going to have it go down to forest because we don't want to see the fence. My issue with enclosures is if you see the fence, it kind of just takes away the like realism to some extent. So I don't like seeing the fence when you're actually in the enclosure. So I add a whole bunch of trees and stuff to the entrances, to the sides, you know. Like right here. I'm not even going to have this be rocks. I'm going to have this as, you know, forest. Right here too. This is, I feel like this would be okay to have some sort of rocks. I'm going to change this up a little bit right here, to kind of slope down even more right here, because it feels like it's kind of like too condensed right there. Okay. Okay, so we have all this working now. We want to add a feeder here for our scavengers. All right, then we want to add another feeder here for more of our scavengers. Then we can just go ahead and add another one right here. All right, so we have feeders for them in pretty much all three like as in a triangle for all of our, you know, scavengers in the park. So we shouldn't really be having issues with them at all. We want to flatten this a little bit, make this, or not flatten, slope this a little bit, make it go down more. All right. Let's add some leaves to the outside of this enclosure. Like so. We might want to slope the fence down a little bit to make it not look as weird. So it doesn't look like it's just going straight down like some of the other fences in our park. So we just want to make this like fence look kind of natural, just a little bit, right? Again, that's why I also added some trees right there just in case. And then I want to add the rocks right here. Adding the rocks right here I think is a good thought, right? Like so. And then we could bring some more. We can bring some more trees down. Like so. I don't want to have this all be stone or rock. Not stone, sorry. Okay, we don't want this all to be stone or rock. Oh my god, I'm messing up again. All right. Cool. Right, this is gonna be a little pocket right here. Now I want to add 2 attractions. I want to add a dome viewing gallery. I want to add the dome viewing gallery right here, pretty much. Right here. And I wanted to attach... Shoot, I can't have it attached. Damn. Okay, so that's too far. So it's actually started off right here. So we can't put it right here because it's too far. So how about we put it... How about we put it right here? On the edge of the river. And then have it connect to this further one. And then we can create like... Does that reach? No, it does not. Also, it does some weird shit or weird stuff to the terrain. Okay. So, you know, add this here, connect it to that one, have that going. Okay, so we could have this kind of be set up. Right, we just want to add a little bit of that. And then we can flatten this whole area right here. Right. And I think it's time to actually start adding some water. So we can add some water after we do that. Okay, we can add some water. To start off with, let's do a little bit. Don't want to do that. Okay. 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 Alright, let's add this. Alright. Let's get that going. Alright, let's add some ground fiber right here. I have to remember this for later, so we can add some ground fiber right here. Let's add some ground fiber. All right. Right. Boom. We can add a little bit right there. A little bit right there. Okay. So we have a lot of ground fiber and we have a lot of ground leaf spread out everywhere. Now I believe what we need is it tall leaf? What do the Dreadnoughtus like? Tall fruit and tall fiber. Tall fruit and tall fiber. Okay. Now that we have all of that done, let's get some of our little decorations in here. Let's add some rocks. They're not decorations. They're part of the environment. Okay, we just add a few rocks, you know. Make it look nice. Okay, and then we should add some rocks up here. Okay. Right. Okay. A few rocks. I want to add the big rocks mostly, not the smaller rocks. The smaller rocks are just kind of iffy. Especially with this taiga set. Okay. Okay. Let's add some trees here. Okay, it looks a little bit too open. Okay. Now we just need to add some of our stuff. I think it was brick. It was fiber, right? Hmm. We could add some of these closer to the river. Like right here. I feel like right here is a perfect spot to put them. Yeah. Okay, I feel like that's a little bit too much. Right there. You can add a lot of them. Right here. I don't know what's going on here. What's going on here? Hmm. Okay, maybe we can just add a patch of this. Okay, this works right here. Okay. Okay. Alright. Perfect. Alright, and I think that might be enough. So let's add our dinosaurs. So this whole enclosure is pretty much nice and completed. Actually, let's add some more rocks. Alright. Okay, add that there. That there, add that there. Add some just rocks, you know, to the sides and stuff, and like to the river. Make it a little bit more, you know, detailed. Something that's straight. Why is that so straight? Okay, let's add this like that, because that looked way too straight. Okay, and then let's add this here. Okay. Now, I feel like since all of this is flat, what we can do is we can put this up. Okay. Ooh. Okay, add this right there. All right, so we kind of give it like elevation and all that stuff. All right, I think we want to add more rocks to the other areas where the tour path crosses. So we should probably do that. Just like so. I feel like these rocks are too big. Right there. Okay, we can add a rock here. Alright, so we added a whole bunch of rocks. Made it look a little bit better. I want to slope some of these little hills to make it not look so rigid on the ends. Oh, not that one. Right, especially this one. I feel like this one looks a little bit too rigid. Okay. Like so. Cool. Now I think we can actually release our dinosaurs. Alright. Edmontosaurus. I believe the Edmontosaurus is ground fiber. So the majority, I feel like the Edmontosaurus should be like more around here. Right there. Our Utah Raptor died again. Okay. Then we should get the other Dreadnoughtus. Where are you landing? You're landing right there. Okay, let's get the other one there. Well, and then we're just going to transport these dinosaurs and see how everything works. Might make some changes in the end. I'll show you guys those changes and we'll see how this goes. All right. Cool. So most of our things are completed. So let's see how it goes. This enclosure looks nice. I don't want them grouping up like how they are a little bit, but they seem to always disperse because there was a huge group up right here, but they decided to roam around a little bit. So, you know, it's a nice little detour from one area of the park to the other, plus going through the tour itself, or going through the, like, thing itself. It's going to feel like, it's gonna, we're taking you somewhere that's quite far compared to where you're actually going. I'd say this part of the tour is probably like around if the speed is 30 times, so it's every second is 30 seconds. That would mean this tour would probably be around 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah, 4 or 5 minutes. So, you know, you take quite a drive through the enclosures. You know, you come back through. You don't really see the other side where the vehicles are at all. You really don't see where they are coming from. So that's really cool. And then you get to this next part. Now, there is a vote going on. I know that I said, you know, next enclosure is going to be the one you guys are voting for. There is a vote going on. Go vote for the next enclosure. I believe currently the Allosaurus is winning. And in second place, we have the Tyrannosaurus Rex. For the next enclosure. The next enclosure will be up here. This is why I'm doing a vote for that. Because I want to decide what I want to build up here. Because of that. So yeah, if you guys want to decide what enclosure goes up here, go vote in my community tab on my channel. You guys will see it. It'll say, you know, it would have 4 options. It has the Allosaurus, the Tyrannosaurus, it has the Spinosaurus, and it has the Therizinosaurus. And then there's the last option for other, where if you select other, you can leave in the comments, you know, what you guys want. If you guys want something that'll fit this park, then I'll definitely add it on in the future. But for right now, you know, we want to add something special right here. And just because the other ones, you know, lose or don't like become the most voted, that doesn't mean they're not going to be added to the park. If the Allosaurus wins, I'm definitely going to add the Tyrannosaurus and the Therizinosaurus and maybe even the Spinosaurus. So you never know. So just go ahead and vote. We're going to create like another thing up here that's kind of like this. Not too big. I want to make it kind of like a hotel area since we don't have any hotels down here. This down here is not meant to be a hotel area. This is supposed to be like a main park entrance area, you know. And then the hotels are somewhere else. So we want to create like a resort outside of the resort. Yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it for this enclosure. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to vote for the next enclosure. Bye, guys.